Hi, welcome to the Pearls and Polish Podcast, episode 50. I'm your host, Rachel, coming to you from just outside Sacramento, California. If you are a new subscriber or a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm excited to spend a bit of time with y'all talking about knitting. I think I have only knitting today, but we also mention, planner stuff, crochet sometimes, books, movies, always. But anyways, excited to spend a bit of time with you guys chatting. I have a various number of things to talk about along with a giveaway since it is episode 50, but we'll talk about that towards the end of the episode. So before we get started, in the description below, you're going to find links to ways that you can contact me. I'm on Instagram and Ravelry, along with links to all the designers, makers, dyers, and anyone else I mentioned in today's episode. So make sure you check those out so you can find out all these wonderful makers that I talk about today. And then, as always, please make sure you like and subscribe if you are a newer viewer. Summers tend to be a bit hard for consistent posting. I know it's been about 2 weeks since our last episode. I am a mom of younger children, so our schedule is a little all over the place right now since we're not in school. When we're in school, our schedules are very defined and it's a lot easier for me to record. But when we're not in school, it's a little harder. So I think summer we're going to be every 2-week episodes, but we'll just kind of see how we're doing with that. So when you subscribe, make sure you hit that little bell so you get a notification every time we post a new episode. Speaking of episodes, let's go ahead and get started. I have rewritten my show notes like 3 times just because I wrote them and I was ready to record and then something happened and I wasn't able to, and so I would rewrite them. So I did not rewrite them again before recording today. So we're just gonna go with the flow and see kind of what happens. But let's start with some finished objects. I have 4 finished objects. Starting I am doing Kay the Crazy Sock Lady, her summer sock camp. So if you're not familiar with Kay, she has a YouTube channel, wonderful person, and every summer she hosts summer sock camp. And so for 3 months, you knit socks. And that's kind of it. It's just very low key. There's no sign up. You just knit socks. And you can post finished items on Instagram, on Ravelry. There's a chat group in Ravelry, there's a hashtag in Instagram, and she'll pull prizes, but it's basically knit your socks and have fun. So I love how low-key that is. So I participate every year, and I have been knitting so many socks. This year I've decided I'm going to do shorty socks, because I don't have as many shorty socks as I do long socks. I'm also doing Pasley Knits seasonal boxes that she did last year. The dyer's name is Coley, lovely person. She's out of Canada, and so I got the 4 seasons boxes last year and saved them so I could do socks for the summer, for summer sock camp. So first pair of socks is Bougainvillea. These are super bright. I don't know how bright the camera's picking these up, but these are super bright. Also, just, I'm sure you've noticed, we're in my kids' room again, hence all the stuffed animals. But the pattern I'm using for this is the Shorty sock set by Summer Lee. This is I think it's Oso Basic or Basic B Shorty socks. It's a cuff, and then you do a couple rounds and you go straight to your heel flap and gusset, and then you knit your foot. And that's kind of it. So these go by fairly quickly, which has been great. So I'm doing the same pattern for all of these socks. As you can see, I have not blocked these. I haven't blocked any of the socks that I'm going to show you, mostly because I haven't had time. But those are my first pair. Next, I have Pool Club, which is also from this summer box. I can't remember if I mentioned that in the Bougainvillea. It is part of the summer box. So this was that. These are like highlighter blue. So like the name really goes well with this color. Those also need to be blocked. That was my final color for the summer box, so I have started autumn. And then I also have one of my long socks. So on top of doing 24 pairs, actually it's 22 because I did 2 socks last year. But besides doing all these socks for the seasonal boxes, I also wanted to do 4 pairs of like full length socks. So I finished pair number 2. These have not been blocked either, but I'll just hold one. So this is a rib sock. So it looks really thin, but it stretches out. This yarn is by Hickory Lane, and it's called Button Down Flannel. This was from, I think, the Cozy collection from a couple years ago. And I had wanted to do these socks last year for summer sock camp, and these were like the last pair that I had gotten ready and ended up not finishing them. The pattern I had originally chosen for these just was not a good fit, so I left it. I made the call to not try and finish them in like 2 days, and I ended up doing just ribbed socks because that's what I really wanted with this yarn, and I just really wanted this yarn to just kind of shine. I don't know if you can hear Sabine. She's our puppy. Usually she's in here with me, but my husband is home today, so he's kind of entertaining her, and it sounds like she's not very happy about that. She's usually my little shadow, so she likes to hang out with me, given the choice. So it sounds like she's annoyed. So I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. But anyways, these were also done. When I originally wrote my notes, both the pool club, the blue ones, and these ones were still works in progress. Since writing my notes last week, I have completed all those socks. And then one more finished object, which I did not anticipate having done today, but I just finished it maybe like an hour ago, is my chicken. So I am doing, on top of everything else that I do, I am doing Poultry Palooza, which is being hosted by Che and Gabs of Slip Slip Sis. They have a channel here on YouTube. They're also on Instagram and Ravelry, but they are hosting Poultry Palooza. And so the whole idea is to knit, is to knit some sort of poultry item. So a chicken, you could also crochet, but as long as you can tell that it is a poultry item, ducks, geese, whatever, then it counts. So it's from July 1st to August 31st. And this is my first one, and I think it turned out so great. I have never made any sort of animal before, so learned quite a bit with this. The yarn, before I get too off track, is also from Hickory Lane, and this was called Fiesta. I had bought 5 skeins of worsted yarn years ago, and my plan was to knit a sweater, and once I actually started working up the sweater, I realized it was never going to be something I wore because the yarn is just so busy. It looks great in socks. It looks great on a chicken. Probably would not look great as a sweater, which actually has worked out really well because both of my kids wanted a chicken, and I want a chicken, and a friend wants a chicken, so I'm going to just have a whole like flock of chickens out of Fiesta. So I'm going to have Fiesta chickens. And then before I forget, Hickory Lane made an announcement that she's going to pause her yarn dyeing. So she does have quite a bit of yarn on her website that is on sale. It sounds like she has a shoulder injury that is just not healing. So she needs to take a bit of a sabbatical to kind of take care of her body. So I'm so glad she's taking care of her body. I'm so sad that she's going to pause yarn dyeing. But if you would like some really beautiful colors, make sure you check out her website. But anyways, the first chicken is done. I think this one has blue eyes. So my kids picked out, let me cover up my face. There it goes. My kids picked out the eyes for their chickens. So one child picked out blue eyes and the other child picked out green eyes. So this is the blue-eyed chicken. I have, moving into whips, works in progress, I have the other chicken ready to go. I just put the beak in, and I just have the little red part, the wattle, left to do, and then put on the eyes, and then there's like a bottom section that goes here, and then seam it, stuff it, and be done. So the actual construction of the chickens go by really fast. You could, I broke it up in sections. So you do the tail first, and as you do one half of the tail, then you do the second half of the tail, you seam them on the top, and then you seam this all together. Then you do the body, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but this just straight up and down of the body, that's like part of the body. And then you do a ton of short rows this way to do like the chicken breast, and then you do more short rows here for the neck, and then you do short rows on the top for the head, and then you do the beak and the wattle, and you go put the little like neck thing, gobbler I think is what it's called, I don't know. You could put that on there as well, and then there's a kind of middle piece, so this bottom piece right here, you knit that separately. So I would split this up in multiple days. So like day 1 I would do the tail, both pieces of the tail. Day 2 would be the chicken body. Day 3 would be the chicken breast. Day 4 would be like the neck and head, and then I did have to wait for my yellow and red yarn to come in since I didn't have those colors. So while I was waiting for those to come in, I started the next one. So you could get quite a few chickens done in 2 months. So that's kind of my plan, because I have 5 skeins of worsted yarn to work through. But anyways, the second chicken should be done this weekend. So both children will have a chicken at the same time to just kind of enjoy. Other works in progress. So I'm doing a test knit for Ann Fowler. It's the Frankie V Sweater, and I really enjoyed all aspects of this test knit. The communication has been great. The chat group that is put together for all the testers have been wonderful. The yarn that I picked out is working out beautifully. The pattern is really well written, even though it's like a sample, like rough draft kind of pattern. Everything has been wonderful. But for some reason, I just kind of struggle to pick up my sweater and work on it. I'm not really sure why. I want to work on it. I want to finish it, but there are just other things in the way, like chickens. And so I have been trying harder to prioritize this sweater so I can just be done with it. So I can enjoy it, right? When it cools down a little bit. Currently, in my part of California, it's in the high, like 110, 112. Today it's 102, and you can like tell the difference. Those 10 degrees make a huge difference. But anyways, here is my Frankie V Sweater. The body's completely done, and I have picked up the first sleeve, and I just finished all the decrease rounds for my sleeve. So the neck, I have like a here. The next step for this is to try it on and see kind of sleeve length. The yarn I'm using is called Hufflepuff in Autumn, and it's dyed by Ruby and the Yarn Co. The dyer's name is actually Molly. Ruby is the name of her dog. But I have just loved how this is turning out. I am alternating skeins since it is kind of variegated, so you don't get too much pooling. But this is a fantastic pattern, one I will definitely be doing again. It's DK weight, so it does go by fairly quickly. But yeah, I'm just trucking along. So the plan is, the due date for this I think is mid-August, so I need to hustle. So I'm going to finish my sleeve decreases, try it on, and then see how much longer I need for the sleeves. Sleeves are very customizable, so like I have some sweaters where I decided I wanted like elbow length sleeves, and so I only knit to the elbow. I have some that have really long sleeves because I wanted like parts of my hands covered. So my plan for this is to do like wrist length sleeves, normal sleeves, and then just enjoy. So hopefully there will be more to show on this the next time we have an episode. And then I think once I have a final number as far as how much further I need to knit after my decreases, it'll be a little easier to kind of map out what I need to do in a day to be able to finish my sweater on time. I think that's the hardest part, is just trying to gauge like what is the minimum I need to work on this so that I can make sure I finish it with plenty of time. The one thing about it being so hot is that when you block things, because I wet block my knitting, it dries really fast because it's that hot right now. Thankfully it's a dry heat, so we don't have humidity here, so things dry fairly quickly even in the house. But if we were in somewhere with high humidity, I don't know how I would do that. Next work in progress are my socks. So like I said, prioritizing that sweater so I can just get it done. I am now starting quarter 3 of summer sock camp. I mapped it out and it is exactly 100 days. So I need to finish 4 pairs of socks every 25 days to fulfill my goal of knitting all 4 seasons of the Pasley knit boxes. So I am starting quarter 3 with, not that one, this one. This bag is my sushi bag, and I got it from Slip Slip Sis. Gabs has a Etsy shop, and so she's been making little bags and yarn cozies and whatnot, and so I have a sushi bag and I really liked it. This is Autumn Leaves, so this is the first of the autumn colorways that I picked out. The other ones are Apple Picking, which is like a red-green, Stick Season, which is brown, and then Cabin in the Woods, I think, which is green. Walk in the Woods. No, Walk in the Forest. Something like that. It's green. Very autumnal colors. So now we're kind of moving into colors that I really enjoy. I don't know if I would wear a sweater this color, but definitely in the green, I would wear that. But anyways, I started this yesterday. It's little and cute. I just did the cuff, the leg. I'm ready for a heel flap. So the plan is I will do a heel flap for this today, and then start my gusset decreases, which takes about 30 rounds, and then I have 45 rounds for the foot, and then a toe, and I'm done with my first sock. So knowing these numbers, it's a little easier for me to map out what I need to accomplish each day to stay on track. So I'm only casting on this one sock so I can focus and get it done. However, I did cast on my long sock, my third long sock, knowing that I would be able to spend all 25 days working on this sock. It also helps that this is a self-striping yarn so that I can actually stay focused and only knit so much of it a day. So this is called Our Solar System, and it's by Gauge Dye Works. I'll show you the tag. I don't remember where they're from. But this is the round trip. So it's a 4-ply sock, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. 100 grams is 425 meters, which is the same as 465 yards. I want to say they're in Canada because they're using meters. Yeah. But anyways, they are a specialist in self-striping yarn. And what Gauge Dye Works does really, really well is translating information into stripes. So they did a solar system sock, and it is amazing. So they send this little postcard, and each color represents a planet. So like the sun is, no, this side, right here. And it is that yellow and like a darker yellow. And then Mercury, which is that dark pink, and then Venus, and then Earth, then Mars is that red, and then Jupiter is that giant orange, and Saturn, and Uranus, and Neptune, and they did include Pluto. If I remember correctly, the original colorway did not have Pluto, and they had enough requests of Pluto is a real planet, please put Pluto in there. And they said, you know what, you're right, Pluto is a real planet, so they put Pluto in there. And then the gray stripes represent distance. So even like the width of the color represents distance. So the light gray stripe is 50 mil, I forgot, there's a microphone there. So the light gray stripes are 50 million kilometers, and then the dark gray stripes are 500 million kilometers. And then over here, not that side, this side, for diameter, they show like the sun, what the, like each color represents. So, and this is like accurate to what our solar system actually is. They've done some where they use coloring letters and would like write out a code or a message. They did one with a specific orca pod in, you know, the ocean, and did one according to that. So they do some really interesting stuff with color. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely check them out. Their link is down below. But I will show you my socks. I am so excited with these. These are my socks. So, couple things happening here that are not typical for me. I'm doing these toe up. I love a good toe up sock, don't get me wrong. I just don't normally do it. You can do a toe up sock and still do a heel flap and gusset. It just takes some finagling, or it depends how you want to do it. I don't typically do that. So the pattern I'm doing is the Monday socks by Sarah Opie. And I picked those because she has a gusset with a short, and then you kind of close the gusset. So I didn't want to disrupt the stripes too much, but I also wanted to have, you know, socks that would fit. So I'm doing these toe up. I'm also doing these magic loop 2 at a time. I typically don't do socks 2 at a time. I've tried it multiple times. I've struggled. I've gotten some really great tips, so I am now applying that to these socks, but I did want to get them done at the same time. And so I'm going to try 2 at a time again. Also, because there's a short row heel, I don't feel like it would be as finicky as if I were trying to do like a heel flap and gusset on 2 at a time socks. For me, that's a bit much for me. But this I can definitely do. So we are giving this another shot. I'm only doing 1 color block a day. So yesterday I did the whole toe, which, you know, took up most of the sun and then finished up the sun. Today it was a gray section, so it was only like 3 or 4 rounds, which was fine. I didn't mind. Tomorrow is Mercury. So I have my cake and I'm pulling from both ends. People have views on whether or not you should do that or not. I decided at the last minute that I was going to do them 2 at a time. I didn't want to rewind my cake, so I decided I'm going to do it like this. And how I'm going to do it is I'm pulling from the inside of the cake. I'm also pulling from the outside of the cake. So when I do like self-striping, I usually pull out all of what I need for that day. So for instance, this pink color is Jupiter. So I would unwind all of the pink from the outside until I hit gray. And then I would pull out from the middle all the pink that I need for the day until I get to the gray, and then I would just knit that up. That way I don't get all twisted around with my yarn cake. It also makes sure that I only knit what I'm supposed to knit. I typically do that when I'm doing like my Advent socks. So that is that, and I'm so excited to finally be doing these socks. I have been wanting to do these socks for a very long time and just always felt a little intimidated, but this felt like a great time to do it. And these are in my Star Wars bag made for me by one of my fiber friends. Her kid picked out this fabric and then she made the bag for me, so that's going in there. And then let me check my notes. I think that's it. So trying to kind of pare down how many things I have cast on right now. The goal, of course, is to finish my Frankie V Sweater, finish my autumn socks, and continue on with the autumn socks. I'm going to finish up the second chicken and then kind of see where I'm at. So I'm going to take a short break from chickens to finish other things, and then I will pick chickens back up. So I'm not sure if I will have another chicken for the make-along, but I'll definitely have to. And then, yeah, that's it for whips. So moving into reading and watching. I have been reading the Lockwood & Co. series by Jonathan Stroud, and I just finished the third book. I think it was The Hollow Boy. I don't remember what the next one is, but I'm on book 3. The whole premise is that there are ghosts that come out at night in London, in kind of that England area, and the only people who can see them are children and teenagers, and then once you kind of hit adulthood, you lose the ability to see them. However, that's problematic because the ghosts are killing people, so you have all these children working at night, keeping people safe from these ghosts. And so it's the whole story of this one particular agency owned by Anthony Lockwood, and he is ghost fighting, and the main character is actually a girl named Lucy, and she is ghost fighting, and it's a great series. So I've been reading those, really enjoying those. I finished Royal Pains on Netflix, and usually when I finish a long series like that, I kind of get into like a slump of like, I don't know what to watch. Now, I do a lot of kind of my media intake while I'm knitting. So I went back to an old staple, kind of my 1 hour go-tos, which is The Adventures of Korra, which is part of the Avatar world on Netflix. And it's a series we've watched so many times, but it's one of those like comfort shows in that I don't have to pay too much attention, like when I'm making chickens. So I can just kind of have it as background noise and be able to focus on whatever particular thing I'm focusing on. So that has been great. But definitely need to figure out a new show that I have not already seen to pick up next. And then life updates. We had the 4th of July. Like I said, I'm in the States, so it was our Independence Day. Lots of fireworks. We met up with friends, had hamburgers and hot dogs, and just kind of hung out, did fireworks. We were at their house, and they live in a court, and there were 2 other families who were doing fireworks at the same time. And so, of course, all the guys are, shooting off fireworks. So they ended up getting 3 ladders together, and they were putting all their fireworks out and doing them like synchronized. So we had like 6 fireworks going off at a time, which was great because we got through them quickly. We also had a great light show, and everyone got to enjoy kind of community fireworks, and kids had a great time. The girls went to bed super late. We're very structured as far as like bedtime, just because our kids get up so early, regardless of what time they go to bed. So bedtime is kind of non-negotiable. We did let them stay up quite a bit later than what we typically do, so the next day was a little messy. But we all had a great time. We were all, great to be with friends, even though it was like 110 out. So it was very hot, but it was still a good time. Sabine is our puppy. She's a Schnauzer Poodle mix. She just turned 6 months on the 4th of July. So it's been great to see her grow, and she's starting to figure things out. We're finally getting to a point where we can take her outside to go potty without a leash, which has been great. And that like now I can kind of semi-trust that she'll go in the right direction of where we want her to go. But we still go out with her all the time, just to make sure she doesn't decide that she wants to go play in the dirt or, eat something she's not supposed to be eating. So she's been a lot of fun. she handled the fireworks beautifully, wasn't nervous at all, which has been great. We have friends who have dogs who are very nervous around fireworks, and so we tried to make sure she was contained and safe and couldn't hurt herself, but she didn't even flinch, which was wonderful. And then we're kind of getting near to the end of summer. I know I just said in like 3 episodes ago, summer's just starting. Well, summer's getting ready to end. Our schools go back mid to early August. So we're trying to get the last couple things in before everyone goes back to school. Though at the same time, I am not upset about going back to school, just because then we'll have our usual structure again, which is always something that keeps us all very sane and happy. And then on top of all that, we're still doing Taekwondo. So my kids do Taekwondo, and I started taking lessons last October. So we have testing coming up. So that's when we test for our new belts. And it's always a lot of fun to kind of see how, it's like a showcase really, of what skills have you been working on. And then, they try and make it a big deal about getting your new belt. So on top of all that, we're all very excited for our new belts and how hard we've been working for those. But my oldest child will be moving up to the highest level class and be able to start training with kids who are more advanced than her. So she is kind of the big fish in the little pond again. So it's time for her to level up. And then she'll be in that class until she kind of hits her teen years, and then she can be in the teen adult class. But I think this will be good for her to kind of push herself again, to do well and to try hard. So that's going to be really great. And then that's kind of it. The last thing we have to talk about is our giveaway. We are celebrating 50 episodes. I started this channel in, I want to say 2021, right before the pandemic started. Didn't know if I would make it to episode 50, but here we are. And so we are doing a giveaway for this sock set of Woolberry yarns, and I love Woolberry's colorways. This one is called Button Jar, and it's on their Berry Cozy Sock Set. 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 480 yards, 120 grams, which is 100 grams for the main skein, 20 grams for the mini. This is one of their most popular colorways, and so I wanted to share it with one of you. So how do you enter into the giveaway? As like all sleep-deprived people, I have been super dependent on my coffee lately, just because we've been going to bed a lot later over the summer, but we still have to get up pretty early for either things we have to do or the puppy's up early. So I've been having more than 1 cup of coffee in the mornings or during the day. So our code word is coffee. So how I like to do giveaways is leave a comment, use the code word, which is coffee, somewhere in your comment, how you like to take your coffee. Do you drink coffee at all? What's your favorite order? If you do fancy coffees, how do you like to prepare your coffee at home? Use the word coffee. And that way I know that you watched the episode, so you will be qualified to win this. This is open to the whole wide world because you guys are wonderful. And I've just been very blessed to be able to spend time with you guys for the last 50 episodes, and so this is my little way of saying thank you. So make sure you put a comment down below, and we will randomly pull a winner, and you'll find out if you won in the next episode, which will probably be in about 2 weeks. That's what I've got for today. I had so much fun spending some time with you. I hope you had fun spending time with me. Make sure you like and subscribe again so you know when our next episode comes out, and I will see you guys next time.